Don't worry about the next, because it's your boy Chris with the next. And I'm back with another podcast. It's a true crime podcast. This was requested by Keith Blair. Shout out to Blair. Go check out his page on TikTok, his website, and his YouTube, all called Wild with the Blairs. WildWithTheBlairs.com, Wild with the Blairs on TikTok and YouTube. He does fishing content and works as a construction worker and has multiple outlets. Buy some of his merch too. Also, if you want to donate to my show, my cash app is hashtag GetXMoney09. That is hashtag $GetXMoney09. Support the show. I need the advertisement. Alright, so today's true crime is how to catch a killer or how to catch a serial killer. We'll be talking about Ortham, DNA solves and Ancestry.com. How is it to use to catch serial killers to set today? Now, with that being said, back then when technology wasn't really being perfected, serial killers had basketball numbers or small concert numbers, such as Samuel Little. He has over 100 victims. You have the Graham Sleeper, who has over 100 victims. Jeffrey Dahmer, his official number was 17, but he has way more than that. John Wayne Gacy, 33 bodies, but he has way more than that. But if you go on the Wikipedia list of serial killers, you will notice that the numbers drastically drop within the years. Starting with the years 2010, technology being perfected. And if you look at 2020 and beyond, serial killers only had 4 victims, 8 victims. The highest number was 8. There's one that has 4 victims, 2 victims. So the numbers decrease. If you go up from say Jack the Ripper, 1800s, or if you go up to the 70s, the 80s, you'll see 150, 60, 20 bodies. These very high numbers because back then technology wasn't really perfected, and you had to run to a payphone in order to call 911. But with so many cameras, so many phones, even homeless people got phones. You can get an Obama phone. One death is too many, but it's not as bad as it used to be. And the DoeNetwork.com, or the unidentified Wikipedia, the unidentified wiki, it says that prostitutes, runaways, and hitchhikers are the most endangered, most unprotected people. And that's just because people don't know where you are. If you hitchhike in the last place, your family knows you're going to California. Nobody tells their family. If you're a prostitute, I'm going to go trick. You'll tell another trick that, but you won't go tell your family or friends that. In runaways, you can run away to anywhere. But nowadays, you shouldn't be doing all three. They have homeless shelters. They have places you can go. Prostitution, I don't agree with that. And hitchhiking, that's definitely not something you should do. Now with Ortham is the last DNA place the forensic work with. Unlike traditional labs, Ortham can work with extra small or contaminated DNA samples. They specialize in handling challenging samples, including skeletal remains and old evidence. So Ortham is the last place that people go with very little to old DNA. Because in the 70s to the 90s, DNA testing wasn't really, they didn't have that back then. So again, a lot of serial killers got to escape free, or at least they got to kill as long as they did. Other than that, the police sometimes just didn't do their jobs. But, I digress. Forensic genetic ethnology. The generated profile is compared to against consumer DNA database such as DNA Match or family tree data DNA to find relatives. Broad use cases They work with on identifying unknown victims, John and Jane Does, identifying suspects in homicides and sexual assaults. Ortham is bought by the Family Tree DNA database. They inform everyone at some point this week from now on that it will cost genealogists double the cost. They use that database for cold cases. It was $700 and now it's $1,400. So they have the website where you can donate to get these people's family home. The website is DNA.com. DNAsolves.com. And they do have it where you can donate cases. They find a lot of people. And yes, it does cost a lot of money, but it goes to a good cause. Because everybody is somebody. We all came here as babies at one point. Unless you're a serial killer or something, then, you lose that humanity. DNA Solves is the website you can donate to raise funds for these John and Jane Does. They have solved over 1,000 of cases through funding. Now, like people like Joseph James D'Angelo Jr., a former police officer that was caught years ago, they're caught years later through Ancestry.com and 23andMe. They got a GED match. Investigators built a family tree from distant relatives found in the database, narrowing down suspects to D'Angelo that they obtained through fresh DNA sample from trash to confirm the match. He was known as the Golden State Killer, the original Night Stalker, and the Venus Solid Ransacker. Also the East Area Slayer, the Diamond Knot Killer, the East Area Rapist, and such other names. Also ERON, which is an acronym for East Area Rapist and Original Night Stalker. Once they found those two people was actually one people and it connected. They also found Rex Heuermann, also known as the Gigolo Beach Murders or Long Island serial killer, aka Lisk. He was caught by DNA from trash in a discarded pizza box and male hair found on a burlap wrapped around the victim, Megan Waterman. He was a very evil man. He got a documentary out now called The Gigolo Beach Murderers. He admitted to chopping up, murdering sex workers and chopping them up. I remember Peaches, which her name is Tanya Dykes, and her daughter Tabitha Dykes. But they said that he may not be connected because her father, Andrew Dykes, actually confirmed that he was arrested for, murdering her. She was estranged from her family, so I guess he was off the hook with that one. But he has chopped up, a lot of people, mainly sex workers. I remember the Sharon video, or the Sharon audio where she ran, was knocking on people's doors and she was being chased. Later found in a pool face down where she had been drowned. They also looking for a transgender, because he thought she was trans, but she wasn't. Either way, that's no way to murder nobody. Should murder nobody. He also murdered a person, but an Asian doe, which was found with male clothes. So probably working as a transgender prostitute. There was also another one that was, confirmed. Well, they don't know if she did it or not. But it was a prostitute, a male prostitute, says drag, a queen named Sugar Bear. I think his name was Andre. Yeah, Andre something. Andre Isaac, something like that. And his nickname was Sugar Bear. You can go on Google and find all the interviews for that. Last but not least, I want to talk about Lonnie Franklin, which was the Grand Sleeper. He was caught. Lonnie Franklin Jr. was caught using familiar DNA search from a pizza crust. Police had staked him out in 24 hours, and they watched him go to a pizza parlor, and they posed as a waiter to give forks, the pizza crust, and a glass that he was drinking from. Because his son had did something bad. I don't know, I think he raped somebody. And they did a DNA test, and it started popping up. Old cases started popping up, and they know he didn't have to do nothing. So they had figured out his dad might have did it, and he did. And the sad thing about that was, Lonnie used to do cars for he used to work with the police with doing cars. He was a mechanic, so he was up under their nose the whole time. Same thing with the East Area Raper, the original Night Stalker, the Golden State Killer. He was a police officer, and what he would do is he would rape them or kill them and then leave the scene and then get in uniform, and then they would have a call in that area. Then he would go back to that area and then start wiping up stuff. And they really couldn't catch him. Until years later, his son, I guess he raped somebody. I mean, his grandson raped somebody. And then again, like Lonnie Franklin, old cases start popping up, and they used the Ancestry.com, and the detective went to his house and posed as a person that might have been related to him, but he had to get some DNA. And sure enough, they went back, and that's how he was caught. They went back to the lab, and that's how he was caught. So Ortham is very good. They've been Ortham DNA Solves and Ancestry.com. Not only has it been bringing back, giving people back their names, but it's also been catching, people who have killed that person or serial killers. So the DNA, DNA is really helping. They really help us keep us alive. Not only we're alive, but it's helping keep, I feel like keeping crime down, keeping people's, giving their names back. Because we don't want to think of these people as just victims. These people walk the earth the same way that we do. The Jeffrey Dahmer victim, the John Wayne Gacy victim. No, we want to know these people as people, persons. Not just the John and Jane, though. I feel so happy when they get their names back because I follow these pages on Facebook. So I'm always in the loop. And I'll be doing more true crimes or, stuff about Ortham and stuff like that. Because, I grew up off America's Most Wanted, Cops, and then LA's Most Wanted was on Fox News. They used to come on after America's Most Wanted. That was just stuff in the area. So, I'm a crime junkie, but not like I'm obsessed with death. No, just, to help pay respects to the victims. Because again, they were people just like us. So if you do donate to them, it is a great cause. Ortham, they found victims from John Wayne Gacy, Larry Eiler, a couple of his victims, 3 of his victims actually that was unidentified, and a whole lot of other people. The Becca girl, she's been found. Just lots of people. All right, that concludes True Crimes with Chris Sharp. Any comments, questions, concerns, leave in the comment section below. If this is on Spotify, stream me up, share me out. If this is on YouTube, like me up, share me out. If you want to donate to the show, it's Cash App, hashtag $GetXMoney09. Any donation is appreciated and will be used for a great cause, marketing, advertisement. I need huge advertisement. And I do a lot of gardening. You see pictures. And, stuff like that. Great causes. Until then, it's being real with you. Peace. Peace.